The German police shot a man who had rampaged through the Berlin cathedral. The police in the German capital Berlin urged the public not to spread rumors. The German media say that police were called to the Berliner Dome, a major tourist attraction on the historic museum island, after a dispute between two people. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad says that he plans to visit North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, which could be potentially the first meeting between Kim and another head of state in Pyongyang. Now, Pyongyang and Damascus maintain good relations. The UN monitors have accused North Korea of cooperating with Syria on chemical weapons, a charge that the North denies. According to South Korea's foreign ministry, North Korea established diplomatic relations with Syria in 1966, opening its embassy in Damascus. UK Home Secretary Sajid Javid has said that Britain will have a good set of proposals on Brexit policy ready for a meet of European Union leaders this month. Prime Minister Theresa May is struggling to find a proposal on post-Brexit customs to take into negotiations with Brussels as the clock ticks down to Britain's scheduled exit in March 2019. Javid also says that discussions between ministers on agreeing a position were making good progress ahead of the June 28 to 29 summit. A power cut paralyzed the Hamburg airport. The departure board was black. The baggage conveyor belt stood still and the shops had to be closed, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded. According to an airport spokesperson, the reason was an electrical short circuit because the runway system was also affected. All flights had to be stopped as of 10 o'clock local time. Now, the anti-immigrant Slovenian Democratic Party has emerged as the largest party in Slovenia's general election. The centre-right Slovenian Democratic Party secured 25% of the vote. The anti-establishment LMS party of comedian-turned-politician Marjan Sarec had 12%, followed by centre-left Social Democrats with 10%, and the SMC party of outgoing Prime Minister Miro Cerar had 9% of the votes. The results mean a coalition government will have to be formed because no party achieved a majority. At least 3 people were confirmed dead and scores feared trapped after a 5-story building collapsed in a residential area of Nairobi. National government officials say that those housed in that building had already been evicted, but they managed to sneak back in after the building was earlier condemned and marked for demolition. Kenya has seen similar tragedies in the past. A total of 49 people died last year when another building collapsed during a heavy nighttime downpour in a poor neighborhood. A church service and a minute's silence were held in memory of the victims of the London Bridge terror attack, in which 8 people were killed exactly a year ago. The service was led by Dean of Southwark, the Very Reverend Andrew Nunn, where he read the names of those killed in the attack. British Prime Minister Theresa May, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and members of the police and emergency services attended the commemoration service. Mexico will announce more tariff adjustments on U.S. products in the following week to offset the impact it will suffer from the U.S. protectionist measures in steel and aluminium. The ministry also says the government will guarantee domestic food supplies and keep the retaliatory tariffs' influence on domestic livelihood as small as possible. The U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminium imports from the European Union, Canada and Mexico officially took effect last Friday. Cardinal Obando Bravo, who was the former Archbishop of Managua and emblematic figure of the Catholic Church of Nicaragua for several decades, died at 92. Obando served as the Archbishop of Managua for 37 years before retiring in 2005. He also played an important mediator role throughout Nicaragua's recent violent political history. The Cardinal was most famous for his clashes with the leftist government of the 1980s. Nationwide protests have been held in Argentina calling for the decriminalization of abortion. The demands follow months of televised hearings on whether or not to allow women to terminate pregnancies within the first 14 weeks. A congressional committee is due to vote on the proposed change to the law, which both houses of parliament would have also approved. A protest in the Nicaraguan city of Masaya on Saturday escalated into a pitched battle between riot police and protesters. The protest was triggered in April by the government's pension and social security cuts, parapet walls, barricade made of stones and tree branches, barbed wires, all were seen in almost every block across the city. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of people gathered in Brazil's largest city on Sunday for its 22nd Gay Pride Parade, which is considered one of the world's biggest. Revelers of all ages, many wearing pride wigs, heavy makeup and multicolor costumes filled more than 10 city blocks. This year's parade focused on Brazil's national elections scheduled for the October. The theme was Power for the LGBT, Our Vote, Our Voice. Jordanians continue to protest near the Prime Ministry in Amman on Monday against the new income tax law and call for the government to step down. Prime Minister Hani Mulki has refused to scrap the tax reform bill backed by the International Monetary Fund that has provoked the largest protest in over 5 years against steep price rises, saying it was up to Parliament to decide its fate. Pope Francis visited a once tranquil seaside community outside Rome that has become a far center of mafia violence and political corruption, urging residents to break away from the moorings of fear. In his homily during a mass from the steps of the first church, he used the word omerta, which refers to the code of silence organized crime groups impose on their members and the fear they use as a tool to keep others from talking to the police. Hundreds of people protested in Madrid against the new government of Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and called for elections in Spain. Gathered at the Madrid's Colón Square, supporters of the unity of Spain waved flags, played national anthem and chanted slogans like "Elections now" and "Long live Spain." Long live Spain. Protesters say they did not feel represented by the recently formed government, although some say they do agree with the no-confidence vote against former leader Mariano Rajoy. Thousands of people dressed in white gathered in Paris to celebrate the 30th white-clad Dinner in White picnic. Guests arrived from Parisian streets carrying tables, chairs and baskets full of fine food and wine. The exclusive invite-only event is organized every year with the location remaining a closely guarded secret until the last minute to keep diners and the authorities in the dark. Some 80 pieces of plastic rubbish weighing 8 kilograms were found in the stomach of a whale that died in Thailand after a 5-day effort to save it. The pilot whale was discovered in a canal in the southern province of Songkhla in Thailand and received treatment from a team of vets. The whale spit out 5 plastic bags on Friday and later died. The Palestine Football Association chief called on fans to burn the shirt and picture of Argentinian super striker Lionel Messi if he plays against Israel in Jerusalem. Twice world champions Argentina will play at Jerusalem's 30,000-seat Terry Collect Stadium on the 9th of June in a World Cup warm-up match that has attracted huge interest among the Israeli fans. But the Palestinians are not happy that the match will be played in Jerusalem. The Palestinian FA chief Jibril Rajoub wrote to the head of Argentinian Football Association last week and accused Israel of using the match as a political tool. And it's good news for women battling breast cancer. A major international study has found that women with early stage breast cancer do not actually need chemotherapy. The research says that close to 70% of women with the most common form of early stage breast cancer can be spared the agony of chemotherapy. The results of this research followed trials of a genetic test that analyzes the danger of a tumor. German Chancellor Angela Merkel visited the national soccer team at their training camp in southern Tyrol in Italy as the world champions look to bounce back from a surprise tournament warm-up defeat to Austria. Merkel arrived at the five-star team hotel in Epan to cheer the team on Saturday's 2-1 defeat to Austria. It was Germany's fifth match without a win and their first defeat to their southern neighbours Austria for 32 years. The Indian Navy rescued all the Indians stranded in the storm at Yemeni island of Socotra as part of Operation Nistar. Reports suggest that around 38 Indians were stranded at Socotra after Cyclone Mekunu hit the island. Cyclone Mekunu has battered southern Oman and the Yemeni island of Socotra, causing 11 deaths and widespread damage in the past 1 week. 3 of the 11 victims of the natural disaster are Indians. India's Union Minister of State for Home Affairs Hansraj Ahir has warned Pakistan that India will revoke the Ramzan ceasefire if Pakistan continues to indulge in cross-border firing and terrorism. The minister's comments come on the heels of the deaths of 2 BSF personnel who were killed after heavy mortar shelling by Pakistan on the international border in Aknoor area of Jammu and Kashmir. 13 civilians were also injured in the incident. A differently abled proud man, Taha, in India's southern Trivandrum city has become a source of inspiration for his kind by sewing umbrellas, paper bags, bulbs, pen, paper and everything he can make for a livelihood. Taha lost movement in his legs 17 years ago after being paralyzed on surviving a deadly fall. The fall confined Taha to bed for years now, but 5 years ago, Taha gathered his strength and learned to make umbrellas and other products. Soon he began taking orders and selling them online. A massive dust storm in India's northern Uttar Pradesh state caused severe damage to mango plantations and claimed several lives. The storm uprooted several trees and electric poles, killing up to 17 people in western Uttar Pradesh. Many mango orchards were ruined in the storm, incurring huge losses of up to ₹1 million for farmers. Storms are common at this time of the year in India, but the severity of the weather this year and the human cost has been unusual. The students of an Indian fashion institute, the International Institute of Fashion Design, paid a tribute to late Bollywood legend Sri Devi in western Vadodara city with their year-end annual cultural fest. Kamaldeep Sondi, the institute's director, said that the institute had a syllabus on Sri Devi's style and there was a plan to incorporate it in the event prior to her death. But after her demise, they decided to turn the show into a tribute. The picturesque Himalayan desert of India's Kashmir, Leh, is attracting a lot of tourists from all over the country. Tourists were seen clicking photos and enjoying with gulls at the turquoise blue lake of Pangong Tso in the lap of the Himalayas. Located at over 17,000 feet above the sea level, the temperature at Leh is more pleasant and people from all over the country look at the hill town to beat the intense heat. police in India's northern Himachal Pradesh state arrested a taxi driver on charges of raping a Japanese tourist in Kulu district. Reportedly, the incident took place on the night of 30th May when the victim booked a taxi to reach Kulu after she missed a bus for the hill town Dharamshala. The driver then took her to a secluded place instead and raped her inside the taxi. The accused, identified as Deepak, was arrested on Friday on the basis of details given by the 30-year-old victim and has been sent to a police remand.